I'm Sean Williams with Premer Mundo cigars. Been around since February of 2006, so looking forward to releasing my 10-year anniversary cigar next month, and for sure to be available at the IPCPR in Vegas. And we have a nice representative here of a few of my core brands. In particular, we have the La Hermandad here, Costa Fuerte, and in the middle, Epiphania. La Hermandad is a classic Maduro, a nice, beautiful Brazilian Arapiraca wrapper, and it smokes like a classic Maduro should smoke. You're talking roasted coffee beans, cocoa, nice rich smoke, beautiful profile. Again, nice Brazilian Maduro wrapper, all Nicaraguan binding and filler. Cigar is made in the Dominican Republic, and it is a Maduro smoker's Maduro. And the sister cigar to the La Hermandad here is Costa Fuerte with the Brazilian wrapper as well. It's a beautiful, creamy wrapper from the Bahia region of Brazil. And the cigar is a little fuller than it looks. It's actually going to be a medium plus. Has a beautiful Allure Dominicana binder, Nicaraguan Dominican fillers. Medium plus, creamy notes to it, sort of a hint of a vanilla, but you still get that nice coffee complexity from Nicaraguan tobacco. So a beautiful smoke as well, also made in the Dominican Republic. This is one of my all-time favorites here, the Epiphania. It has a beautiful Ecuadorian sun-grown wrapper, and it's going to be a medium-bodied cigar, probably solid medium-bodied cigar. Again, a lot of Nicaraguan tobacco. That's something, I use various wrappers from Brazil, Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, but as far as the fillers and the major components of my cigars, a lot of Nicaraguan tobacco. So that really plays through with a nice coffee complexity, nice full-bodied, round smoke to it, and just a beautiful smoke as well. This cigar was actually up for Best Brand USA back in 2012, and has done very, very well for me. The La Hermandad and Costa Fuerte basically go from about $8.10 up to the most expensive, which would be a 6x60 at about $8.75. A little bit more expensive here with the Epiphania. It's going to go for about $8.50 up to closer to $10 MSRP. And I make this cigar in 3 sizes: Robusto, Toro, and a Presidente, which is a beautiful Figurado. That's a 6.5 by 52. And the La Hermandad and Costa Fuerte come in 3 basic vitolas: Robusto, Toro, 6x60. But I give these cool little names. The Robusto is actually called a Caballito, which means a little horse. The Toro is actually called Embajador, which means ambassador, just a classic all-around size. And the 6x60 is called the Consejero, which means counselor. So a few different sizes in each, and just different profiles. Just a nice sort of classic mix of smokes for an avid smoker. In full disclosure, I don't make anything mild. I don't consider myself having a starter cigar per se, but for medium body to full body, it's just a good range of smokes here. And here, the cigars that's not in boxes, these are some of my real sort of personal favorites I make right here in Miami, in Little Havana. First of which, most notable, would be the Liga Miami. I make this at El Titan de Bronze on Calle Ocho, 8th and 11th. Just in the heart of Little Havana. Sandy Cobas is running the place. She's been there for years. I originally blended this cigar with Willie Herrera a few years ago. It's one of the first cigars that we really cranked out of Titan de Bronze, and it's done very, very well for me. Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, Dominican Nicaraguan filler. Cigar's done exceptionally well for me. Still sort of a fan favorite. Love making the cigar. Clase Reserva, released in 2012, was the 3rd cigar that Willie Herrera and I did together. It's a beautiful San Andreas wrapper, all Nicaraguan binder and filler, and it's going to be just a toasty, meaty, sweet, smoky Maduro. Beautiful burn, beautiful profile, and as all cigars at Titan de Bronze are made, they're all rolled in tubado, double binders, triple cap, just classic Cuban construction. There's only 12 rollers there, all of which are certified level 9 Cuban rollers. So the construction there and the care and detail is just second to none. So beautiful, beautiful projects I've done with them. And I'm still looking forward to doing more stuff. I'm fortunate enough to have been around since 2006, so I have a few lines that will be grandfathered in. That sort of gives me some stability moving forward in this sort of shaky landscape that we're going to have with the FDA. So I'm just looking forward to a few more years. 10 years in, it's been a good run, and just looking forward to continue to to make some cigars and bring you the things that I've been making and hopefully bring some new creations. And in particular, like I said, I'm really excited about bringing my 10-year cigar out that's going to be released at the show. And it's a beautiful cigar as well. Has a beautiful Rosado Nicaragua wrapper, which is something I sort of revisited. It was a cigar that I made years ago, my black label, that did very, very well for me, and I want to sort of resurrect that wrapper, so I'm using that wrapper. The binder on that cigar is a San Vicente out of the Dominican Republic, and the filler is a crazy mix of Corojo 2006, Ligero Criollo, and Ligero Negrito, so it is a full-bodied, stout, but very balanced and complex cigar. So very excited, and a decade in, and I'm looking forward to 10 more, hopefully. Most people that's followed me over the last few years kind of know my story. I actually smoked my first cigar on a cruise, New Year's 2005, and I was just instantly taken with the experience of smoking a cigar. And once I got back to Atlanta, within a few months after that, I started the Atlanta Cigar Society, which was just a vehicle for me to sort of get together with cigars and sort of herf and hang out. And the term herf wasn't really around then, but that's basically what it was. And I would do different cigar events around the city, poker nights here, bourbon nights and so forth. And as those events became more and more popular, I started thinking about doing a cigar really just for my events in Atlanta. And that led to me hopping on a plane in January 2006 to head down to Nicaragua and spent a week at the Placencia factory, and I cranked out my red label and blue label, and shortly after that my black label. And things just started taking off, and of course shops in Atlanta picked up the cigars, a few shops here and there picked up the cigars, and it was just sort of an organic, sort of unexpected growth that the cigars got. And I was primarily into real estate and mortgages at the time, and in 2008 when the market crashed, I went belly up like everybody else, and the one thing I had was cigars that were on the shelves with a few dozen retailers, and I really loved doing it. And I really at that time decided I'm going to chase something I really love doing, and I've been full-time in the business ever since, and it's just sort of grown from there. So the reason my company is called Premer Mundo, which means the first world, is I had a different name for the company before I went to Nicaragua. And when I first went down there, I'd never been to a country that was that underdeveloped at the time. They've made great strides since then, still have a long way to go. But at the time, I saw houses with no doors and no windows. You see houses with no floors. There was a siren that would go off every morning, and first morning it scared the shit out of me. But then I found out it's the siren that wakes the city up. Literally, it's the siren that goes off that wakes the city up. My shower didn't have any hot water. There's like this little canister at the end of the shower head that you sort of turn back and forth to get lukewarm water at best. And it was just the roads and so forth were really not developed. So it was an interesting experience. But when you went into the cigar shops, just to see the care and the detail that went into making cigars, you could eat off the floors. It was so orderly, so pristine, and so much went into it. So much goes. The worst cigar you smoke takes 3 to 5 years before you get a chance to smoke it, from the time they put the seed in the ground to the time it's ready to smoke. And we take it for granted here that you spend $5, $6, $10, $20 on a cigar. I think every cigar should be $100. When you look at what goes into making it, and we sort of kind of just dismiss it as a lot of people, it's just sort of a casual thing, maybe a status thing or whatever, but there's a lot of care, a lot of love, a lot of history, and a lot of passion that went into doing this. So for me, those companies that give us the cigars, we kind of cast off as third world countries, but to me, they're the first world. So that's why my cigar company is called Premer Mundo, the first world. Big thing I learned is that you need to try to be consistent, and I say try to be because things will happen where maybe something doesn't work out with a certain factory, maybe a certain brand doesn't stick. Things happen, but be consistent in one area for sure. Be consistent in the commitment to the quality of your cigars. I've gotten a lot of feedback over the years. Some things I could have done better, some things I could have done different, but one thing for sure I'm absolutely supremely confident of is that I put out a good product. It was a real honor. I'm at a Highland Cigar Bar in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is probably 2009 maybe, and a couple of military guys were in there, and there's one guy that I knew. We were talking, and he introduced me to a guy. The guy's name was Lieutenant James Jackson. Don't know where you are, don't know where you live, but I'll never forget that name. And you know, a guy told him I was into the cigar business, said, what's your brand? And I showed him, at the time it was my Red Label, and he saw it, he's like, I've smoked that cigar. And I was like, okay, well, I'm guessing maybe you smoked that at a cigar shop. He's like, no, I smoked it in Iraq. I was like, really? You're kidding. He's like, no, I'm not. And we traded, you know, traded numbers and whatever, because I thought maybe it's confusing with something else. But sure enough, he texted me a picture later that night from his dossier, from the sandbox, with my label and his notes about my label. And that was because, you know, the Cigar for Warriors, you know, people donate cigars, you do things. But I mean, to really have this guy show me my band, and I was pretty new in the business then, to show me my band in his dossier with his notes next to it was just, that was the coolest thing ever. And you're watching Cigar TV. Light it up.